My name is Ken Wheeler. I work at Formidable, and I'm here to talk about building the Walmart iOS pharmacy with React Native. First, I'd briefly like to talk about how we got to this point. So Walmart loves React. We're using React in production, and almost every track that we have on .com is currently rewriting into React. I'm just going to hit allow. Can you guys see that? All right. So we have an internal platform that we developed called Electrode. And at the heart of Electrode is a shared component library that has almost every little piece of UI that you can imagine on the Walmart website. From something as granular as a heading up to complex, composed components like product carousels. So after working on Electrode, I was approached and asked if I wanted to take a crack at the mobile pharmacy in React Native. And I said, absolutely. I was super excited. And there was a lot of reasons to be excited, especially from a business perspective. You can push fixes right to your app, which is a no-brainer. It's cross-platform. There's a great deal of shared code between iOS and Android. And resource interoperability. And that's a big one because we have a large pool of JavaScript engineers that we can pull from to implement features and fixes in our native applications. So let's talk a little bit about how we built it. So one of the first things that we had to figure out is, the pharmacy is embedded inside of the main application. It's not a standalone React Native application. So we had to hop from the main app to the React Native app, which is embedded. The way that we did that was we pushed a container view onto the stack and loaded our React Native app into it. When you click that pharmacy button, it slides it in just like anything else. And then your navigation component is going to take it from there, your navigator. We also had to bridge in a pop functionality. And the reason that we had to do that was if you're at the bottom of the stack, if you're on the home page of the pharmacy and you hit back, we need to pop the container off and then go back to the main application. Next up was figuring out how we were going to manage application state and our data within this application. So as you can see in the screenshot, the little dash circled areas, there's 5 different domains of data and functionality. Each one of those has its own container component, a smart component. We used Redux, and it really lended itself well to managing that application state. So we have a reducer for each one of those, where we're managing the state of each one of those sections that you can navigate to. In addition to that, we have a global reducer for global application state that could be shared between any of those. Another thing that we had to figure out was kind of like how much native we should use versus how much we should create in React. The Walmart iOS team has an awesome set of shared controls that, as you can see there, they're themed, they have validation built in. So it made a lot of sense to use them. So what we did was we bridged them over, or a set of them over, and then we're able to use them as components within our application, and we're using React to manage the composition and logic around them. But we're using the same controls that the whole rest of the app shares. So that was lovely. It wasn't all easy. Of course, there were pain points. The first and biggest pain point for me was upgrading. And if you've had a React Native app and you've ever tried to upgrade it, especially like a really early version to like a relatively newer version, it's not super easy. We started at 0.12 and moved up to 0.16, and that was pretty devastating. You had to go one by one, each error until it resolved itself. Thankfully, if you got in later than that, going all the way up to, I think we're at 19 now, has been pretty effortless. So a lot of the pain points that we hit were application specific, not necessarily faults of React Native. For example, there's functionality in the Walmart app where when you pop up a form, you pop up your keyboard for the form fields. There's little arrows that you can use to navigate through the form fields. That works in the main app, but it doesn't actually work when you're composing these controls through. So if I go and click here, we were actually able to fix that with a combination of a higher order component to manage where the scroll view is, as well as using set native props to set what we needed. The second thing that we had hit was view controllers are prohibitively difficult to do in React Native. So it was actually easier to just build it out of regular view primitives. As you can see here, this is a search display controller that's completely built out of primitives. That's not a view controller at all. So sometimes it's easier to kind of just make it. In conclusion, it's been a lot of fun. It's been really fun and challenging. And I'd like to thank the React Native team for making my job fun every day. And thank you guys for listening. Thanks so much.